Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers with another Versus video. In this video, me and Nick are going to be running through the new Hoka Kawana and comparing it with the Hoka Mach 4. Let's take a look. The Hoka Mach 4 costs £125 or $130. It weighs in at 236 grams or 8.3 ounces for men in a size 9, and the drop is 5mm. The Hoka Kawana costs £125 or $140. It weighs in at 309 grams or 10.9 ounces for men in a size 9, and the drop is 5mm. The Hoka Mach 4 is a daily running shoe designed to feel soft and bouncy, whether used for comfortable training miles or for faster efforts. The PROFLY midsole aims to deliver a light and responsive feel, while the rocker helps to propel the foot forward and produce a fluid transition. Covering that midsole is a rubberized EVA outsole for additional responsiveness and protection. The upper has a thin engineered mesh design that offers a good level of breathability, and there's a removable EVA sock liner. There's also a swallowtail design on the heel, built for efficiency, that's mainly focused on heel strikers. When compared to the earlier Mach 4 shoes, it has a softer ride. The Hoka Kawana is a maximal cushion shoe that features Hoka's new CMEVA midsole, a foam designed to give a responsive and lively feel. It also features a subtle version of Hoka's swallowtail extended heel, which, along with a crash pad, aims to promote a smooth ride, specifically for heel strikers. Hoka says it's a shoe built for versatility, offering comfort at any pace. There's an early stage meta rocker to produce a smooth transition, and the engineered jackered mesh upper aims to be both breathable and supportive.
So I use the Mach 4 and the Kawana in my normal size, and I'd say they both did fit true to size for me. There are differences between them. I did find that the Mach 4 had a narrower, kind of more cramped toe box, whereas the Kawana is more roomy around that area in particular. I have a fairly narrow foot, so the Mach 4 worked quite well for me. I didn't really have any problems.
Okay, the fit for me in the Kawana and the Mach 4, it's actually slightly different. They're both Hoka shoes, so I kind of would have expected them to feel very similar, but they don't actually. I think with the Mach 4, I think there's just a little bit more give in it. They're both Hoka shoes, so they do generally feel a little bit narrower than a lot of other shoes out there. But the Mach 4 just feels like it's got a little bit more give in it for me. So I didn't have any issues at all with the Mach 4. Felt very comfortable from the off, and when I was running in it for the first couple of times, no issues at all. It just felt comfortable and really enjoyed the fit. The Kawana does feel a bit more narrow than the Mach 4 for me. The first couple of runs I did in it, it felt a bit restrictive around the midfoot section. Didn't feel very comfortable. It actually hurt a bit after the first run I did in it. After those two runs, I think the upper gave way a bit and loosened up. Now it feels completely fine. But I would say that the Kawana is a little bit more narrow than the Mach 4. Other than that, they both fit true to size, and I've got no issues with either of these shoes now. So the run test for me with both of these shoes, surprisingly different considering they're both Hoka shoes. The Mach 4 I've been running in for a while, and I absolutely love this shoe, and I know Nick does as well. It's just a very lightweight, versatile, comfortable all-rounder that you can do a lot of stuff in. So I like running in the Mach 4 for slow daily runs when I'm not really putting any effort in, but also if I'm going a bit faster, doing an interval session, or I'd probably even use this for races as well, it just feels like it could handle it all. It's not a particularly bouncy shoe. It's not like a Zoom X foam where you just feel like it's propelling you forward. It just feels very efficient and just really makes you roll forward into that run without thinking about it. So it's just perfect, especially for longer runs where you just want to keep up the pace with a lightweight shoe. The Kawana, it doesn't feel like that. It's heavier for starters, but it just doesn't feel as versatile for me. It just feels a little bit chunkier. It feels like it's more designed for slower daily runs than being able to run faster in it, because I just think there's a little bit too much heft in this shoe for going faster. I think it feels a lot firmer than the Mach 4. Now the Mach 4 isn't necessarily a heavily cushioned shoe, but it does feel soft on the feet, whereas the Kawana feels a lot firmer, feels a lot harder, doesn't feel like there's a lot of bounce in it. It's a bit sturdier in your run. But that's probably one of the bigger benefits of the Kawana as well. It does feel like a very thick, sturdy, firm shoe. Like it's got your back where your feet is concerned, and you're just in a very good place, and your feet hit the ground firmly every time. But as a result, it's not very bouncy, it's not very lightweight, and it just feels a bit hard for me. This new midsole foam that sits in the Kawana, I didn't really notice a lot from it. I was kind of hoping to get a newer sensation from this shoe, but I didn't really get a lot from it. It just feels like a firmer midsole foam, much like some of the other Hoka shoes that I've tried. It actually feels very similar to the Clifton range for me, which does have quite a bit of cushioning in it, but it's still quite firm, which may be fine for some people who want a firmer shoe but do like a lot of cushioning. For me, I like a bit of softness in it. I like it to feel like there's a little bit of bounce. And yeah, the Mach 4 is great at that. It just feels like you can just go faster, and it's got a bit of responsiveness, but it's also deadening that impact. Whereas I just don't get that from the Kawana. Another difference between the Kawana and the Mach 4 is that the Mach 4 doesn't have any outsole rubber. The foam that sits on the outsole is actually a rubberized sort of midsole foam, which is it keeps the shoe really light, but it doesn't particularly offer a really good grip for me. So that's a down point of the Mach 4. I haven't ran enough kilometers in this shoe yet to really see what the durability is like. I've been worried that the durability is going to be lower because there is no rubber on this shoe, but I have heard mixed reviews on the durability, and that it's actually not a major issue. Some people saying durability is fine on the shoe despite the fact that there's no rubber on it. The Kawana does have some rubber on the outside of it. Not loads, it's quite a bit around the front section of the shoe and a little bit around this heel section, but the rest of it is exposed midsole foam. That rubber is actually, I think it probably does make it a little bit heavier, but it's quite thick, so it's probably going to do a good job at protecting that midsole foam. But also, it's quite good at gripping as well. I've just been running out some quite wet hills, and it feels great on those. I didn't have any issues with grip at all. It just felt really good, and held your feet in place.
So the Mach 4 was one of my favourite kind of new shoes of 2021. I found it a really fantastic, versatile shoe that you could use for all kinds of running. I did loads of easy miles in it. I did some short, sharp interval sessions in it, and I did some of my 20 milers during marathon training at kind of a good pace in that shoe as well, and just found it really great for all of them. It has a lovely transition from heel to toe. It's really smooth, and it's fast. It's almost one of those shoes that feels like it's kind of almost just kissing the ground, and you're gliding along and really, not losing any momentum as you run. And it's also really quite comfortable, I think. The cushioning is certainly soft. You've got that PROFLY midsole, so if you're landing on the heel like me, you get a softer landing at the front, and it firms up and gets more responsive at the front, just kind of creating the best of both worlds, in my opinion. And yeah, it's not an out-and-out speed shoe, but if we were in a world where carbon shoes were banned, it would probably be a shoe that's near the top of my list to race a marathon in, just because it does provide kind of comfort and speed over those long distances. It's not slow at all. If I did have any concerns with it, it would be probably relating to durability with that exposed outsole, and maybe some people wouldn't find it cushioned enough for all their easy day running, in which case something like the Kawana might suit them better. The Kawana is really more of an easy day shoe. It's not an all-rounder like the Mach 4 is. I found that the Kawana was perfectly fine eating through base training miles. I did step up the pace at times to run a bit faster in it to see how it felt, and it's not terribly slow by any means, but it doesn't have as fast a transition as the Mach 4. It's not as light, and I think the midsole just doesn't give as much back. I actually did find that the Mach 4 was a little bit softer for me, which was a bit surprising given the way the Kawana is billed as this extra soft shoe from Hoka. But yeah, certainly comfortable, but I just found it was a shoe that kind of disappeared on the foot, but it wasn't a shoe that really wowed me, and it didn't leave like a lasting impression after any run in particular. It's just a solid easy day option, whereas the Mach 4 was a shoe that made a huge impression on me, and I think it really stands out within its category. The Kawana is kind of just another really solid easy day shoe, really.
So my verdict on these two shoes is the Mach 4 is a fantastic shoe. It's one of the best shoes that's been released over the last year or so, and it just can do a lot of stuff. It's really light, it's very comfortable, and when it comes to having a nice turnover when you're running, it feels very efficient. It feels like you can just keep on going without worrying about the shoe on your feet, but it's helping you. It feels like this shoe is helping you whether you're doing a slow cushioned run or whether you're doing a fast effort, whether that's a tempo run or maybe even a race. It just feels like you're getting a lot from this shoe. It's working for you to make your running better. The Kawana, I don't think it's a bad shoe at all. I think it's fine. I've just come back from doing a 12k in it up some quite hilly routes, and it was fine. I didn't have any issues with it. I just didn't feel like it was working for me. It just felt like a shoe on my feet that was protecting my feet and keeping me going up the road without any issues. But it didn't feel like it was helping. It didn't feel like there was a movement in the shoe making me propel forward. It didn't feel particularly efficient. Feels quite clunky for me, and that might be to do with that firmness, but it's also a bit of a heavier shoe. So I think it's fine. I think it's a bit of a workhorse, and especially for those people who like a harder, firmer ride. I just don't think it's very versatile, and I don't really care that much about the feel of the shoe when I'm running in it. I don't mind it. I just don't think it's delivering anything above and beyond, which I do think you get from the Mach 4. I think the Mach 4 is just beneficial to your running, whereas I think the Kawana is just keeping you going, but not really helping you in any way. The other thing about these two shoes as well is that they come in at the same price. So for me, I just think the Mach 4 is just a no-brainer when it comes to spending £125 on a shoe. There's just so much more you can do with the Mach 4 than you can with the Kawana. But that's my choice, and I like cushion shoes. I like lighter shoes. I don't particularly like heavy shoes with a firm midsole in them. So I'm always going to go for the Mach 4. I just think is more value to the Mach 4, and it can do a lot more. So if you're investing in a shoe that you want to be able to do lots of stuff, that's a great option.
So yeah, looking at these two shoes within their categories, if you are billing the Kawana as a cushioned easy day option, it's not really a standout within that category. Like, I think there's loads of good options in that area from Hoka and other brands, and just think it's okay. It will eat up your base miles comfortably enough, but it's not really a fantastic option. Whereas the Mach 4 is a standout. Like, when you look at the kind of all-rounder shoes on the market, the Mach 4 is right up there with the best of them. Like, there are still things like the Saucony Endorphin Speed, which I really rate as the best kind of versatile shoe out there, but Mach 4 is kind of one of the other better options in the category. You can use it for loads of different types of running, and I think it is a very comfortable easy day shoe as well, and I would happily use it for that, and I'd probably prefer using it for that over the Kawana, whilst also having all that extra versatility on top. So I think if you are looking for versatility, the Mach 4 is the clear winner here. If you are looking just as a pure easy day shoe, I would still be using the Mach 4 over the Kawana. The Kawana might be a little bit more durable, and there is a case for even saying that you could use these both in a rotation. The Kawana could eat up the real easy miles, and then that protects the Mach 4 a bit to use it for your faster stuff and even racing perhaps. But yeah, for me, the Mach 4 is the better shoe, really, whichever way you look at it. And that's the shoe I'd be going for when I was looking for a versatile shoe or an easy option of these two.
Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell icon. It really does make a difference. And check the channel out for all the other videos we've got from the latest road and trail shoes, as well as running watches and headphones out at the moment. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.